All right, if you missed the 110 Nation Sports Show, you missed Mario and myself talking about the AFC, more specifically the AFC North. Listen in as we talk about who we think is going to take the AFC North.
The North. I have a feeling our North's going to be all shook up. Um,
Oh yeah.
I got the Steelers. I got the Steelers in the bottom spot.
Yeah.
One,
Yeah.
I think that organization is not turned around from the loss of losing Big Ben. Their quarterback situation, I don't understand why or how it's taken them so long to actually find a good quarterback or a great quarterback to replace. We're just so used to there being good quarterbacks in Pittsburgh. So it's really mind-blowing to me that I'm sorry, I just don't feel Kenny Pickett from Pitt is the answer. And Mitch Trubisky, like you're relying on two subpar quarterbacks out of two subpar programs to lead one of the most decorated, most respected organizations. Even as a Browns fan, I hate the Steelers, but I have a lot of respect for what they do over there and how they win. And I'll tell anybody that the Steelers is an organization that don't go there and expect to get paid above everybody else. Go there to expect to get a nice check, but you're going there to play knowing that you're probably going to make it into a Super Bowl at least once in your career, and that you're playing for history. You're playing to play a part of history. You're playing for an organization, the Steel Curtain, an organization that has a lot of history, not so much one that's just going to pad your pockets and pay you this ridiculous amount of money. And I have a lot of respect for the Looney family and how they run their organization. I think if we would have ran our organization like that a long time ago, I think we would have a lot less issues than we have now. But it just blows my mind that here we are all these years after really the start of the decline of Big Ben, and they have yet found that quarterback. That quarterback's going to help lead them back to the top of the AFC North. It don't hurt my feelings none being a Browns fan, because the longer the Steelers stay at the bottom, the better chance we have of making the playoffs. But I'm really honestly surprised. Who do you have coming out of the bottom of the North?
I also have the Steelers. I think the reason why is the quarterback situation. I still don't have faith in who they got. As far as their scheme, I think Mike Tomlin, the story about Mike Tomlin keeping them afloat, it'll keep a team, hungry at the end. But I say the Steelers also.
Next, and I have a feeling we're going to be all jumbled up here. Next, I have the Ravens.
Yeah. Okay.
One, I have no confidence in Lamar Jackson's arm. Every playoff he's disappeared. Two, he relies on his legs too much. I'm sorry, but I am a throw first, run second quarterback. I want a Tom Brady. I want a Peyton Manning. I want a Drew Brees. I want somebody that's going to try to live to see another down. I want a quarterback that's going to play for 20 years, not a quarterback that's going to run every given chance they got, because they are not that accurate of a quarterback and takes their health into their own hands all the time. So one, I don't count. I don't. His arm, his accuracy is a question to me, but two, also his health. We've seen that last year. I think we've seen that the year before. Your big fix to everything was to bring Odell Beckham into the whole picture, who also has his health concerns. He also has his ego concerns. Yes, the worst thing probably ever to happen to Odell Beckham is that phenomenal catch that he had when he did it over the Cowboys, because that seems to be the whole highlight of his career. And outside of that, he's had to cut some good games, but that's been it. And so I just don't think there's enough pieces. I think that I think that the North, you got to play Cincinnati. Now, this is also depending on how serious Joe Burrow's injury is, because it's vague. They're talking about a few weeks, maybe many weeks. It's kind of vague.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a team that's been to the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl, or Super Bowl twice. I can't remember what the Bengals have been to. So a team that's very legit, and a Browns team that is very hungry, that has been rebuilding for a few years now, and I think has finally got the right pieces. I don't think Jacksonville's got it. I think you had a quarterback that was worried about getting his pockets paid, and that's all he was concerned about, and they weren't able to focus on everything else they needed to focus on, other than a receiver that couldn't even play the entire Super Bowl in his last game. And didn't even play but a partial of that season on top of that. I have the Ravens in the third spot.
Yeah, I can see why the Ravens would be in your third spot. I could also say, could I put the Ravens at 3? Yes, but I'm not. The only reason I just think that Cleveland is in that slot is because they haven't done anything compared to what Baltimore has done with Lamar Jackson being hurt in and out of the lineup, whatever the case may be. I just haven't. I'm not going to take that away from Baltimore just because they still go to the playoffs and they're still in it. You know, if the Browns was at least competitive or in it, then yeah, you know. But so I have to see it first, and then I'll go. I can't knock Baltimore for what they did compared to Cleveland, and they haven't done really anything, you know, in a while. So that's the only reason why I'm picking Cleveland right there in that spot. But I do also like a throwing quarterback too, just because, you know, get me the ball when I'm supposed to get there. You know, you see that whole throw with anticipation, and you know I'm getting there. You understand what I'm saying? If you see me while I'm open and then you throw it, I'm going to be covered just because them cornerbacks and safeties are coming too. You know, you see a hole open, you know my route is in that window, go ahead and throw it. So when I turn my head and plant that foot, that ball is already there. You understand what I'm saying? So I can totally agree with the throwing quarterback. Just because running quarterbacks, they don't last long. You know, and once you get panicky, they're going to run. So I got Cleveland right there.
Well, if you have them there, I know you don't have Baltimore in the top spots. So that means our top spots are going to be different, because in the 2 spot, and normally I don't do this. I let my team, and don't let that interfere. And I don't feel I'm letting it interfere with this one. Okay. But I try to keep it. I actually try to be more critical of my team, because it's my team, and I don't want to feel like, oh, that's your team, that's why you have them in that spot. But
yeah.
You got Mixon in the backfield that has too many issues. Seems like every time you turn around, either there's a fumble the football, or he's got issues with the court. You got Joe Burrow and the concern of how serious this injury is that's happened in the preseason.
All right.
The Bengals lost Perrine, or however you say his name. He's no longer with us. So you lost a significant backfield running back. It seems that the Browns have had the Bengals number. I think last year either we lost one or both, but up to that point, we had won like the last 5 out of 6 games or 6 out of 6 games. So it seems that even with Burrow and even with that team on the rise, the Browns have been able to have that number. My reason for the Bengals being number 2 is really boils down to two things. One, how serious is Joe Burrow's injury? Two,
that's
it has to do more with what the Browns did in their offseason versus, I'm not going to say so much what the Bengals did or didn't do, but what the Browns did do. And I'll talk about the Browns here in a second, but I got Cincinnati in the second spot.
All right. In the second spot, I got the Ravens. I got the Ravens. You know, even though Cincinnati with the quarterback situation is a big deal, you know what I mean, and them barely getting by each year, even though I feel like they could have beat the Rams in that Super Bowl maybe if things were been a little different, but I would have to say the Ravens just because I think their quarterback situation is a little bit better in Cincinnati than it is in Baltimore.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit different. They might have beat the Rams if they didn't have Eli Apple out there trying to guard a receiver. Nobody. But anyway.
Yeah.
My top spot. I have I have the Cleveland Browns. One, you got Deshaun Watson now in his. He had a chance to play half the season last year in an off season to get himself back into shape. He had an opportunity to get himself in rhythm and in sync with the receivers. He didn't have that opportunity. He was out for, a year and a half or years of change or whatever it was. So he was out of shape and never really got a chance to practice with the receivers before a certain time. So he was never in rhythm, never in sync. Yes, it hurt to lose Kareem Hunt, but we have the best running back in the entire NFL with Nick Chubb. I'm a fan of Felton, who will be his backup. He's also either the punt or kickoff returner. I think he's the punt returner. I like Felton. We added Elijah Turner. I liked him. I got an opportunity to see him the other night play. I hate watching preseason games. I hate one of those 4 preseason games, because your starters play maybe 2 quarters out of 4 games, and then you're stuck watching a bunch of 3rd, 4th, 5th string players that are never going to play. So you kind of get false hope. But we did see Elijah Turner play for the Jets last year. We knew what we was getting. That's why we went out and brought him into Cleveland. You throw him in there with Amari Cooper. You throw him in there with Njoku, Caldwell Pope, I call him the People's Champ, People's whatever his name is. I like our receiving core. Of course, the return of Myles Garrett. We also signed Denzel Ward and company back there. We added some pieces. All around, the Browns have worked hard to improve everything. Because honestly, I think we got 1 or 2 good years. And so I think that the Browns have gone all in to try to make sure this is their year. I don't remember how many more years is left on the contract with Deshaun's locked in for a few more years, but I know Amari Cooper, this is last year. And I'm not sure how many more years Chubb has got. I don't think Chubb's going anywhere, but we know we are on a time frame with our contracts. And so the way that everything was structured, this is the perfect time to go all in to try to bring a championship home for the Cleveland Browns. I like everything they have done this offseason. I like how the schedule lays out for the Cleveland Browns. I love the fact that we start the season off with Cincinnati. We are at home. I feel very confident. I felt confident in the first place, but I feel even more confident knowing that Burrow is probably not going to play. And then we go and we play the Steelers. It's a Sunday, either Sunday night or Monday night. It's an 8:15 game. So we're going to play a team that is probably the worst team in the division. So now you start picking up momentum. You start picking up rhythm. You start picking up confidence. I like how this is going to look for the Cleveland Browns. I think that they take the AFC North, and I have not been able to say that in a very long time, but I feel very confident that the Browns will do what they got to do to win the North this year.
All right, okay. That sounds very tempting, and it sounds very believable. It all depends what Watson is going to do. Y'all definitely added some good core pieces and stuff like that. The only reason why Cincinnati is up there is just because of what they did the last couple years. But the quarterback situation is tough if he's not going to play it definitely is a real game changer. So I picked the Ravens. Now I'm picking Cincinnati, but it's definitely going to be a fight for the winner of that division.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel